Peat is a soil type which is high in organic matter and can be found in three different types of terrains. You can have a lowland raised peat bog, a blanket bog, and a fen. Lowland raised bogs are fed by rainwater only, and the peat tends to form a dome above the water table. Its nutrient status is poor and is typically quite acidic. So the flora found there is generally sphagnum mosses and different grasses, and it's found, as the name suggests, in quite lowland areas, generally below sea level. An example of a lowland raised bog would be the meres and mosses. Blanket bogs are also fed by rain only. However, the peat forms a blanket over the terrain, and so the nutrient status is also quite poor and acidic, and the flora is also generally sphagnum, mosses, heaths, grasses as well. However, it's geographically found in slightly more raised areas, upland, and it's not quite as limited as the lowland bogs. The final one is the fen, where the water source is fed by groundwater, streams, and also a bit of rain as well. And the topography is also quite shallow and depressed. The nutrient status, however, is far more rich and less acidic. So the typical flora is a bit more diverse with sedges, grasses, herbs, and also is generally more used for farming. The geographic range is also quite lowland valleys and floodplains, and an example of this would be the Holme fen.
Peat has a very high nutrients, lots of water, and it's often grade 1 or grade 2 agricultural farmland, which means that it has very high yields of crops, and it produces around 37% of the UK's vegetables.
Peat farmers struggle with dramatic weather changes, with flooding, potentially drowning crops and making them difficult to access and harvest with tractors, and dry weather causing cracks and degradation in the peat. They also experience a loss of topsoil with wind and erosion, with one farmer losing almost his height in peat on his farm over the course of his lifetime.
Yes, we should prioritise the most productive land for farming and target less productive areas for re-wetting. We should focus on sustainable agriculture, including options for paludiculture.